are in a place where it is safe for you to do so, close your eyes, find a comfortable place. Take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you breathe in through your nose, you see light entering your body and your mind. And as you exhale out through your mouth, you feel like you're letting go of all the tension in your body and anything that you do not want. As you continue to breathe gently and fully, you continue to allow peace to enter your consciousness and into your body. And we picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove up with a sacred golden light. We recognize that this is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it burns away everything that is not like itself, leaving us clear and safe and peaceful. Into this sacred space, we invite the presence of our Creator. To many of us, this reveals itself to us as a mother and father, a god and a goddess. Also into this space, we invite the presence of our angels, our teachers, and our guides. We dedicate this time that we spend together to them and to each other. We ask that we be guided and led every step of the way as we walk on our path, so that we can become happier, more prosperous, more loving, and more peaceful people. Thank you very much. And if it's appropriate, out loud you can say, "Blessed be." There is one power. There's one source. There is one force. There is one substance in all the universe. It goes by many names, and it is the creator of all that is. It is the source of all that is. There's one life that we all live. There's one mind through which we all think. And it's very easy in our world of separation to forget this, because our world is built on the idea of separateness. In my world, for instance, I can look at a table, and the reason why I know that that table happens to be there is because it's defined by everything that it is not. So all the not tableness that surrounds it is what gives definition to the table. It's the negative space, actually, in this world that gives rise to all form. So I know that I'm over here because I'm not over there. I know that a chair is across the room because of everything that is not that chair. So this world that we experience is a world of notness. And the forms that we have are held in place based on what they're not. And that's not how spirit understands things. And that's why we would say that this world is an illusion, not because we don't experience it, not because it's not here, not because we can't interact with it, not because we can't have agreements with each other that we are living in this world and the world looks the way it does, but because from spirit's point of view, there is no such thing as notness. In spirit, there are no lines. There are no separations. There is no form as we understand it. When we are looking to a higher power for any reason whatsoever, it's very easy for us to project the ideas of this world of separateness and notness on to that idea of spirit. But we can understand how that is awkward at best. The best we can come up with is awkwardness, because this world wasn't created by spirit, not the world that we understand. The world that we understand is not really created at all. It's projected. It's a projection of our understanding of things. And our understanding of things are based on false principles that we learned many, many years ago, or many lifetimes ago, that everything exists because of what it's not. So spirit doesn't understand not. because spirit doesn't come from not. Spirit comes from is. The name of God in the Old Testament was I am. Eheye. If you're going to use that as a model, when Moses asked this force, who are you? What is your name? And the name was I am. It wasn't I am not. But when we live in this world, we live in I am not. So it's very hard to reconcile I am with I am not. And that's why we say that the world we see here is 180 degrees away from the world of spirit. It's upside down. It's backwards. If you think of that hanged man card in the tarot, that's how we see the world, hanging by a foot off of a tree, upside down. And we think that that's what's real. And then the data that we get from those illusions are then projected again. And you can see how that it's a cycle of illusion that goes again and again and again. And it's all just because we are looking for what's not rather than for what is. That's just because we've been trained to see things that way. We've been trained to look for things that way. And so our eyes gather evidence to support the idea that we live in what's not. And spirit is always there saying, yes, but I am. Spirit doesn't exist as a religion. Spirit doesn't exist as a belief system. Spirit exists as the creation, as the creative force of all that is. And spirit extends itself as you. There's a mystery there that you can be a unique individualization of spirit and still be I am and not I am not. You can be an extension of pure soul and still have uniqueness without having I am notness. And so that's a mystery of the soul that is impossible for us to comprehend from the perspective of this world. So it's imperative that we understand that when we are having problems in this world, we have at our disposal I amness. We have this at our disposal that which is, rather than that which is not. You don't want to look to that which is not for help. You want to look for that which is for help. And that which is can help you to see the world from the perspective of isness rather than is notness. And when you can see the world from a point of view of that which is versus that which is not, the world changes. And it gives you power over the world. And that is the seed of all that we might call magic in this world. Because you all of a sudden you have power over the world. And the reason why you have power over the world, you have all dominion over the world, is not because you're more powerful than anybody else in the world of that which is not. It's that you're seeing the world of that which is not from the point of view of what it is. And that's nothing. It's absolutely nothing because it's based on what is not. So the world of darkness in this sense is not bad. It's not evil. It's not something that must be overcome necessarily. It's just nothing. It's nothing. And that's kind of a cosmic joke that we've spent lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime trying to overcome something that doesn't even exist. So when we are experiencing a problem within this world of illusion, it behooves us to remind ourselves there is a force that can completely restore our mind and our perceptions to that which we're created to be, rather than being stuck in an illusion, stuck in a perspective, stuck in a point of view of constantly looking at what's not there. So that's what many people call God or spirit or goddess. And the cool thing about it is that infinite intelligence is infinite intelligence. And therefore, infinite intelligence can understand what you're seeing or think you're seeing. It can understand the world of notness from your point of view so that it can use that illusion to guide you where you need to be. So in other words, spirit can meet you right where you are. If what you see spirit as is fairies and elves, then fairies and elves will be what takes you into the next phase of your understanding. If it's gods and goddesses, then gods and goddesses will lead you into the next phase of your understanding. If you believe in some Abrahamic God, then that God is going to lead you into your next phase of understanding. Spirit does not care what illusions you are caught up in the world of that which is not, because it can just use that illusion to bring you into understanding that illusion doesn't exist. So you don't need to worry about what you call the spirit. You don't need to worry about that. You go with what you understand. You go with what you understand. You don't need to learn a new religion. You don't need to learn anything in order to call upon that spirit. In fact, if you just call on that higher power based on what you know right now, that's all it takes. You don't need to study one more thing. You don't need to study one more little bit of magic, one more little bit of metaphysics, one more little bit of psychology, one more bit of anything in order to get the help you need. It's at hand right now. Because there's one power, there's one force, there's one source, there's one substance in all the universe. And that doesn't mean one God against other gods. It means oneness. It means it includes all that is. There's oneness. I am. So recognizing that if we are having a problem, it's happening in the world that is I am not. It is in the world of notness, not in the world of isness. So we go to the world that is to help us to escape from problems in the world that is not. And ultimately, what happens is we are led to see that world does not exist and that we have power over that world. And therefore, it appears to ourselves in this world and to other people around us as if that condition has been healed. It appears as though that disease has been healed. It appears as though that financial problem has been taken care of. It appears as though that relationship has been mended, or that there's been forgiveness, or that where there was, wherever there was conflict, there is peace. Wherever there was poverty, there is now prosperity. Wherever there was illness, there is now health. It appears that that's what's happening in the world of notness. But in reality, what's happening is we are seeing the world for what it is, not there. And then we are existing in the world that is, and the world that is has no problems. All the problems have already been solved. So when we shift our point of view from the world that is not into the world that is, meaning that we are invoking spirit, whatever we understand it to be, then we have a point of view, a perspective of where power lies and where solutions lie. And that since that problem has already been solved in spirit, it is just a matter of time in the world that is not before that illusion starts to vibrate to that same truth. Because remember, the world that is not is simply a screen onto which we project images. And those images are very real to us here. Don't kid yourself. They are very real from our perspective. This world that is not is very real. It can be very scary. It can be very, very scary here. And the realness you can feel in physical pain, the realness you can feel in physical pleasure. The realness is there throughout all the senses of your body, but that does not negate the truth of the fact that it does not exist. It does not exist because there is no notness in the world. There is only isness in the real world. So, when we have a problem in our lives, the only way to solve it is by going to a power that does exist, rather than trying to rearrange illusions in a world that does not exist. I hope I'm making sense. You can't find solutions in the world that are lasting and real solutions in the world by trying to change the way things are not. The only way to have solutions in the world is by working with what is. And that exists outside of the world of that which is not. Now, the good news is that's the world that you already live in. You already exist there. That's where your soul resides. That's where all of us reside. And in the world of our souls, we don't have the same understanding like we do here of bodies. Bodies, my hand is here because of everywhere it's not. My face is here because of everywhere it's not. That's why it's a structure. That's why it's form. And to us, that's the highest state of manifestation from this point of view is form. And so we look at particular things which are defined by what they're not, and we say these are pretty things, these are ugly things, these are good things, these are bad things. These are things I want more of, these are things I want less of. But we are never understanding that we are making those choices based on what's not even there. So instead, if we are experiencing issues in this world that are reflecting thought forms which cause us pain, which cause us problems, that rather than going into the world and trying to fix them, we are understanding going into the world to try to fix them is going into a world of that which does not exist. So let's go into the world where everything does exist, and that's the world of spirit. And when you go into the world of spirit, what you find is that spirit is omnipresent. Spirit is omnipotent. Spirit is all-knowing. Spirit's not, just because spirit is all that is, doesn't mean that spirit doesn't understand that you're experiencing something that is not. Spirit's not stupid. Spirit's infinite intelligence. So if there's an experience in this world that's causing you distress, spirit doesn't want you hanging out in that. So when you come to spirit for help, spirit will help and will help you within the world of illusion based on your understanding of what spirit is. So you just go with where you are. Wherever you are, spirit will meet you right there. But from the point of view of not leaving you there. From the point of view of educating you to see the world differently. And it's really just seeing the world differently that causes that form to spontaneously change to reflect the new points of perspective. That's magic in a nutshell, using your mind to have a change in matter. Because you have to remember that matter exists only because of what it's not. If you remember that all matter exists based on what it's not, then you recognize that it has no power. That's not where power lies. Power lies in how we perceive it. And that is only directed by spirit. Spirit will educate you in the moment to see things differently, to see things the way that they actually are, to see this world of form in a way that starts to reflect more and more of the truth of who you are. Now, ultimately, this world can never truly reflect that which is spirit, because spirit doesn't have that notness. But the experiences of this world can get pretty darn close, because after a while, we recognize that this world of form is very fluid, is very easily changeable, even though our experience thus far has suggested otherwise. So, when we are experiencing problems in the world of form, we must remind ourselves the reason why I'm not getting solutions is because I'm trying to work with what does not exist. I want to instead turn to what does exist, and that is spirit, by whatever name I want to call it. It's not picky. Now, Spirit does not violate you. Spirit does not attack. So a lot of times people hear stuff like this and they're saying, well, why doesn't Spirit just take over and fix it for me then? Because that's an attack. Can you imagine what that's like to just sit in your home and have a bunch of soldiers come in and say, oh, I think that you'd be a lot happier if we changed everything for you. That wouldn't feel good, would it? Of course not. So instead, we have to ask. We have to have our will aligned with the will of Spirit. Once we ask, once we give permission, once we align our will with the will of Spirit rather than the will of this world that does not exist, then we have given Spirit right of way. And you can remind yourself of that constantly. If I'm having a problem in a certain area, it's obvious that I'm not giving Spirit right of way because Spirit doesn't will for me to have this problem. That's not Spirit's will. So if I can shift my allegiance from the world that does not exist into the world that does exist and ask for Spirit to come and show me a new way of seeing this, a new way of interacting with this, then this will change so that it can start to reflect more and more and more of what is true for me rather than what is not true. And so then we recognize that this world of form isn't bad, it's fine, but it's just going to the movies. It's really all it is. In this world, we have decided to don these bodies so that we can go to the movies. So what movie we want to look at is based on what world we are experiencing. Do we want to experience the world that does not exist from the perspective of the world that does not exist? Or do we want to enjoy the world that does not exist from the perspective of the world that does? And that is simply the way that we change the film in this theater that we're watching. It's not necessarily always so much, well, what do I want? And therefore I'm going to start visualizing what I want. Yes, that is part of it. And that is a very valid form of magic. But we're talking about something different. We're talking about if I'm having a problem here, it's not so much, well, what do I want? And let me start visualizing that. If I'm having a problem here, it's, I want to see something completely different that I don't even know about. So I wouldn't have any way of visualizing that. So instead, I'm going to call on Spirit and say, look, this is the problem that I'm experiencing, and I've been going into the world trying to fix it based on illusions. I want you to show me something completely different. I want you to completely take over and show me what you want me to see. I want you to show me the life that I would be most happy living. I want you to show me how to interact with this world of illusion in a way that gives me the most peace and that gives me the most joy and that gives me the most happiness. And the way that Spirit will do that is not in a vacuum. The way that Spirit will do that is by showing you how you can give more of that to other people. And that's the trick here, is the more that we are giving to other people the truth, as allowing Spirit to give through us, actually, when we are allowing Spirit to give other people the truth through us, that's when we start seeing it ourselves. That's how we start seeing it ourselves. And that's why we talk about things like forgiveness here. You're not forgiving because it's such a nice thing to do, necessarily. You know, that's what the world of that does not exist uses forgiveness too. And it's usually forgiveness in a really weird way. Yeah, in the world that does not exist, in this world of illusion and form, we forgive other people all the time so that we can feel superior. You know, we do it so that we can show ourselves how bad they are and how much better we are than they are. That's how we use forgiveness. But the way Spirit uses forgiveness is very different. Spirit uses forgiveness as a way to level the playing field and so that you can see that they don't exist in the world that doesn't exist. That those other people don't live here any more than you do. And so that when you forgive them for the things that you think that they've done, then you start seeing them in a different way and the whole world changes. The whole world changes to start reflecting the love that you actually have for one another. That's why the Spirit uses forgiveness, is to change your experience of the world. And the only way that you can do that is by sharing it, by giving it. You can't live all by yourself in the world and expect to see the world reflecting the truth, because the all by yourselfness is the problem. The all by ourselvesness is the problem, because all by ourselves exists in a world that does not exist. All by ourselves is notness, not isness. So I am is Spirit's name, but that's also your name. And that's everybody else's name that you come across in this world. And if you realize that I am, and they are I am, and Spirit is I am, then we are experiencing the world brand new, because we're not living in the world of I am not. We are living in the world of I am, and we are bringing that world to one another, and we are all I am together. And then when we have experiences in the world of I am not, we see them for what they are. They are form. They are just a screen. They are a movie theater, and we are enjoying it together. But we're seeing it for what it is, rather than being all enmeshed in the notness that is this world and being very upset along the way. So I would recommend that you take a week, if you want to get what I'm talking about, and look at the world that you see around you and recognize it's not what you think it is, because you're only seeing what's not there, because that's what form is. Form is based on what's not there. So instead, you can say, I want to see this world the way Spirit sees it. And Spirit will then start to bring to you people that need that with you, so that you can give of yourself to those people. You can give of yourself to those people that Spirit sends you. Everybody that crosses your path then gets to have a blessing from you. And that's how you're going to be taught to see the world as I am rather than I am not, by seeing other people as they are rather than as they are not. And Spirit knows what it's doing. So as soon as you ask to have any kind of release from any problem, notice that Spirit sends people your way so that you can reinforce that understanding of how the world really exists based on seeing them as they are rather than as they are not. And you will be guided each and every step of the way if you allow it, because you're calling on that which is rather than that which is not, and you're asking to be shown and how to see the world in a way that reflects truth rather than reflects all that doesn't exist. It's an exciting thing. It's an exciting world to live in when you can start to see things differently. And the good news for all of us is that we don't have to know how to do it. But we do have to be willing to be shown. We do have to be willing to be taught. And we do have to be willing to see the world with brand new eyes, just like a little child sees things for the first time. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. I appreciate you so much. Until next time, blessed be.